and welcome to our Pre-Synod Briefing ahead of the first session of the 40th Synod of the Diocese of Gippsland. And on your behalf, my thanks to the Synod Working Group convened by our Vicar General, Graham Knott. People often think of Synod as being kind of like the Church's Parliament, and I guess sometimes it does look a bit like that, especially when we're enacting legislation, something like this, perhaps.
The Prime Minister talks about salesmanship. We all know his brilliant salesmanship. This is the man that sold gold at the bottom of the market. That's the problem with the Prime Minister. He's got nothing to sell and he's useless at selling it. And while we're at it, I've got a bit more advice for him. This is the Prime Minister who went on American Idol with more makeup on than Barbara Cartland. This is the Prime Minister who sits in number 10 Downing Street. He sits in number 10 Downing Street, wondering...
Order. Give him the opposition.
He sits in number 10 Downing Street, waiting for Shakira to call, waiting for George Clooney to come to tea. I got a bit of advice from him. Why doesn't he give up the PR and start being a PM?
The word synod means assembly, and certainly our coming together as a diocesan family for worship, fellowship and deliberation is a key part of the experience for Gippsland Anglicans. The Greek word from which we get our word synod suggests on the way together, and that we are as we begin this new 3-year cycle on the 120th anniversary of the formation of the diocese. As we don't have a lot of legislation to deal with this year, the weekend of 17 to 19 June will enable us to reflect on other matters of importance in our region, our nation and our world, including our renewed diocesan vision for 2021 to 2024, the General Synod of our Anglican Church of Australia taking place in May, and global issues, including the Ukraine crisis and climate change. We will also install our new Dean at the Synod Eucharist on Friday night, which promises to be a great celebration. I look forward to your company as we walk together on this 3-year journey towards 2024, and I hope and trust the Pre-Synod Briefing is a helpful introduction for new and returning Synod members alike. Thank you for your commitment to our life and work, and Eastertide blessings.
For myself, I've been a member of Synod for quite a number of years and a member of Bishop in Council for some years. I enjoy Synod. I think it's wonderful to be able to be part of the organisation that governs the diocese and how parishes work, and sets out clearly and easily how we should behave towards each other and how we should protect our community, our congregations and our clergy.
I first started my synod career in Melbourne as a lay representative for a parish in which I was attending, and then once ordained I have attended as a clergy rep. So I've been into now 3 dioceses as clergy synod rep. For me, I think the important thing is that we often don't get together as a body, and I see it as a meeting place, as a place for catching up with people, of networking and being able to, for the diocese, just to get together and to, suppose, just forge links between one another. Then on top of that, there is the business of synod, which is important. We do need to decide upon and of importance within the church. These obviously come down from General Synod and matters within our own diocese that we need to refer to and discuss, and Synod provides an opportunity for that to take place, and I find that helpful. I've often enjoyed some of the repartee that goes on within Synod.
We should have robust debate. We should be able to disagree with someone's point of view or someone's the way someone has expressed what they want to express. If they're on the opposite side of the argument to the person who's speaking still must be able to maintain common courtesy in the way that they speak. And sometimes it's not altogether the words, it's the tone of voice which is enough to be rather off-putting and rather rude. So yes, I think it is possible to have robust debate and to disagree agreeably.
I know when I first started out, Synod I just didn't understand it. All these motions and counter motions and how we change motions and all the rest of it. I must admit, after several years, I started to see the wisdom in the way it's done. And if you can get through that, I think the procedure of Synod is really, really helpful.
Well, the Synod is actually like the Parliament. That's the usual word that I use to describe. Most people have some idea what Parliament does, perhaps at a local or state or federal level. And so Synod for the diocese is the government for the diocese, as the parish council is the government or the governing body for the parish. And each at parish level and at diocesan level, there is a set of rules that governs how that body will work and how people should behave and how money is to be looked after and how buildings are to be maintained and how the ministry and mission of the church is to be developed.
Apart from the debates going back several years about women's ordination and about the who's able to celebrate a communion and some of these other issues that have arisen, they obviously are going to impact upon the parish.
At every synod that I can remember, after we deal with the legislative business of synod, there are always a number of motions that deal, as you say, with how society operates and how the church would like to have its voice heard in society. So we have had motions on almost every aspect of society. Ones that would be current at the moment would be looking after the planet in various ways, looking after the poor in our society in various ways, making a statement that we hope governments at each level will listen to and perhaps take note and do something more than they're doing at the moment about making society a better place for the people who live in it, who are less well off, as the church has always cared for the poor in society, in inverted commas.
As a general rule, I find the system in Synod is adversarial, which therefore means you're either for or against something. I really would like opportunity for just a discussion to be had on an issue, and from that draw out a motion. I think one of the issues I have, not just with Synod, but with the church as a whole, is that we don't have opportunity to sit down and dialogue with one another on various issues.
A landmark year, followed by another landmark year, was the year when the debate for the ordination of women took place, and that motion failed the first year and subsequently passed. And of course we now have the great joy of having women clergy persons in our diocese, and some people in the church would not know anything other than having a mix of male and female clergy. If you think that you might speak to a motion or a report, then have some notes done in advance. It's much easier to speak when you've had a little preparation and perhaps tried it out on somebody than to stand up and speak totally without preparation. It's always better for everyone if someone speaks in a coherent manner and is able to set forward the points that they wish to make in a manner that makes sense and moves from one stage to another, so that we see how they want to develop their ideas. And when it comes to speaking to a report, it's very encouraging to the people who write the reports to have at least someone stand up and say that they enjoyed the report, especially this bit because, or that bit because. And again, if you have a particular point of view about, let's say it's a report about one of the Anglican schools about what should or should not be in the curriculum, you can make that point and put your own idea forward as you are commenting on the interesting points in the report that has been prepared and written. As a Synod representative, and indeed anyone can come and sit in the gallery and listen to Synod, one should prepare by doing homework. There's quite a bit of reading to do before Synod, but it's not just reading, it's trying to understand. And if you don't know much about the Westminster system of government, perhaps try a little, ask someone about it. Ask someone who's been to Synod what happens, what do you do, how do you do it.
Mr. Speaker, the first point of recapitalisation was to save banks that would otherwise have collapsed. And we not only saved the world, saved the banks and saved the banks and led the way. Mr. Speaker, total spending will continue to rise, and it will be at 0% rise in 2013-14. In 2011